Kia ora and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matthew, and there's no secret to what this car behind us is, because take a look, it's the Audi Q6 e-tron EV.
That's right, it's the all-new, all-electric premium SUV from Audi that's just loaded with Vorsprung durch Technik. Come, let's take a look at this. Now, the Audi Q6 e-tron is basically their next giant leap into their electrification process. This model itself is the first production model that's been based on the PPE system or PPE platform, which is the premium platform electric. So around the wrong way, but there you go. And it's also shared with Porsche. You could say that this is a very, very cost-effective Macan, but I would never say that. You know, that's up for you to decide. Or an expensive Volkswagen, depends which way you look at it. It really does adopt a lot of the new language as far as the e-tron goes. So when you're looking around the front here, it's got the single frame grille that's been closed off. The headlights here and DRLs are matrix LEDs, and actually their light system is really, really advanced, and I'll show you that more on the rear. But very much a more dominant sort of e-tron look and a very much a e-tron language. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk about this color or this paintwork. I believe this is called Ascari blue, and I've looked up that name Ascari as to what it means, and the choice of whether it's a group of parasites, whether it's a military police, or there is a motorsport park or a racetrack in Spain. You can choose which one you want to affiliate Ascari with anyway. In terms of sizing as to whether this will fit in your garage, you've got a length of 4.77 meters and a height of 1.7 meters. And more importantly, there's a 2.89 meter wheelbase, which means there's loads of space inside. When you come to the wheel size, you are both 21 inches front and rear, but the front ones are actually a little bit narrower than the rear. So obviously giving it a lot more sort of steadfastness when you're driving. And also the difference between the advanced model and this S-Line is the fact that this one is an Audi four-wheel drive Quattro. So again, giving you plenty of grip when you need it. As you move down, you've got the mirror caps which are blackened out, and also you've got this trim down the bottom here which tells you it's an e-tron, and also in black. Now around the rear here, you've got a lovely roofline spoiler that's quite sloping down, so it gives you that sort of sense of sportiness. And also this is a big thing because you've got a new light bar that's taken its influence from the GT e-tron, so it's full length, full width, and also as you open up the boot here, you've got 520 litres of boot space here, plus there's an extra 64 of front space under there, so plenty of areas to put whatever you want. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a kicker tailgate, so just seems a little bit under-engineered here. You have to push buttons. How bizarre. Now in comparison, this is completely over-engineered. So you've got a push button flap here. Now in comparison, this is completely over-engineered. You've got a push button flap here that has got a motor on it to open, and this gives you on this side only some AC charging up to 11 kilowatts, but it doesn't take DC. For DC, you've got to go the other side. So this is the DC charging side. Again, still no idea why it's got a powered motor on it. And anyway, thanks to its 800 volt system, you can actually charge its 94.9 kilowatt hour battery, which is obviously huge, up to 270 kilovolts or kilowatts. So it really is a fast charging machine. And then layman's terms, that means you can actually get around about 250 kilometers in about 10 minutes. So that's pretty cool. Combined, this e-tron will put down 285 kilowatts of power, and also in terms of torque, you've got 275 newton meters on the front and around about 580 newton meters on the rear. So that's you can't add them together, but it gives you an idea of how much torque this vehicle has. 0 to 100 is around about 5.9 seconds, and in terms of efficiency, it gives around about 18.2 9 kilowatts per 100 kilometers, and that will transcribe to 567 kilometers of range, although believe me, we haven't got anywhere near that because I've got a very, very hefty right foot. Anyway, speaking of hefty right foots, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
Certainly, if you do have a heavy right foot, this is the kind of cabin that really encourages you to use it. The general feel of the car is very sporty, very driver focused, and as you can see over there, this curved screen around the driver, the flat bottom steering wheel, all of those things certainly help with that, as well as the seats, which actually have the Audi Sport S logo sort of embossed into them. They are leather covered, nice and soft, decently supportive bolsters as well, but the really impressive thing is that they have sort of this kind of headphone technology worked into the headrest. So when you lean back and turn up the volume, it kind of gives you this really sort of close feeling to the center of the music, which is quite an experience in itself. So I do recommend to pick your favorite track and to turn up the volume and just sit back and experience that. Aside from that, both the front seats are heated and ventilated, 3 ways each, and of course electronically adjustable as well. So they've ticked off all of those sort of technology and convenience bits. So on the convenience factor, they have foot cup holders in the middle, as well as another sort of nook in front here, which is where your phone hides. Pretty decent sized door bins, which could fit full-size metal water bottle. It's pretty roomy down there. General fit and finish is as you would expect from Audi. The door closing sound is particularly satisfying, so Dave has opened and shut the door about 100 times this morning. And generally everything is fairly well screwed together and no creaks and things around, so a good sign from that perspective. As I mentioned before, the integration with technology, and what Audi have done essentially is gone for a 3-screen approach. So you've got one screen there for the passenger to sort of play around with, and it sort of mirrors a phone that you can connect, and then you have this sort of curved surround screen approach to Audi's MMI system. And by the way, if you are looking from the outside, it does actually say Audi MMI on the back of this unit. Anyway, enough of just talking about that. Come closer and let's take a look at that central infotainment screen. So the screen that they've given for the front passenger here has a few different functions, but essentially its purpose is to entertain the passenger sitting here. So you've got the simple home layout with the time, the date, an overview of the trip information of the car, and then also the audio system, so you can change that accordingly. You can also toggle between the navigation, specific menus for the audio controls. It has its own app drawer where you can view other things. You've got YouTube, Spotify, the weather channel, and a whole bunch of other things, including a game to keep the passenger entertained. So they've gone really all out with this sort of thing. And you've got a phone mirroring or telephone connection as well. So what Audi have done with this latest generation MMI system is, firstly, as you can see, quite a different interface in terms of the way things are set up, whereas the icons and things still remain the same, still recognizable if you're familiar with the Audi MMI system. But the curved screen layout now gives a more sort of immersive look and feel to the users, and especially the driver's interaction with this system. However, one piece of feedback is that if you are quite, let's be honest, older, or if you are quite elderly, this can certainly appear to be quite a busy interface there, and for some people difficult to use. It is still laid out quite well in terms of making sure the essentials are all there and ready to access. For one, you've got that air conditioning bar all along the bottom there, which allows you to change the zones of the climate, seat heating and ventilation settings, as well as other things like the demisters for either window. To go further down the bottom, you've got this, which is the charging symbol, and it's quite an important aspect to cover with this Q6. You have the ability to set the different charging targets. You've got the battery temperature, you've got the ability to open the charging flap from the inside, and then also as you're driving along, it'll show you which wheels are actually putting the power down to the road. Hop over to the driver's side and you have a look at this curved screen that continues across here and has a view of your Q6 e-tron in front there. Note the sort of simplistic layout of the screen here, where you've got your speed, your range, and your trip information, as well as other things like the gearing and power usage, battery temperature, all of those things. Of course, it can be changed with a push of the button that says view on it, and all of a sudden you can bring up the more complex aspects of the screen, including your consumption, audio input, all of those things. And then of course with the 2 buttons on either side, you can toggle between what you actually see on either side of the screen. So quite a bit of again, customization available once more. The other thing to point out is that all of the controls for the screen in front are on the steering wheel, and they are actually sort of a mix of touch capacitive and buttons. Mixed bag with that, of course, as always, but the one thing that transcends it is the fact that it does leave plenty of fingerprints and sort of can leave scratch marks if you do have sort of sharp nails or acrylic nails. The one thing I wanted to cover is the augmented reality heads-up display in front, and it's probably not too visible from where you are, but it's just huge. It covers a really wide aspect of the windscreen, and as you are especially using the maps feature, it almost feels like you're playing a real-life video game in terms of the way it directs you around and helps you out in that aspect. So you really can't miss any turns or off ramps or things, even if you're somebody like me or Harry for that matter with a terrible sense of direction. That aside, they have also used aspects of touch and touch capacitive and sort of this virtual reality look, if you like, in other areas, including around the mirror switches and customization there, which again, mixed bag. It does leave a lot of fingerprints and scratch marks, but from a technology standpoint, it looks really futuristic, and certainly at night helps to brighten up this cabin. Anyway, that's enough of all of that stuff, so I think we should head out and take this for a drive.
So this Audi Q6 e-tron may not be a Porsche. Obviously, it's built on a Porsche platform, but it's still quite quick off the mark. I mean, almost 6 seconds 0 to 100 is not slow. However, in sort of EV terms, it's not magnificent. But it feels good, and it's certainly, if it's going to be moving a family of, I don't know, 5, which is there's plenty of room for, it's not going to upset them too much, but also give them a bit of a thrill.
It's got a, if you'd like to say, the balance right between having enough performance. Let's be honest, 6 seconds not to 100 is no slouch either. But I think really where the core development or the Porsche platform sharing comes into play is in the handling, where it's sharp. Even though this is a heavy car, let's be honest, it's carrying a 100 kilowatt hour battery, but it finds a way to go around corners while still keeping itself rather in place.
Absolutely, and the adaptive chassis control, and you can adjust the height because it will go off-road as well, is just very, well, it can go from comfortable to dynamic, and you can corner quite rapidly actually, and even make the tires spin or squeal if you want to.
Not to forget as well, the way the Quattro system is designed is so that the car has a rear wheel drive bias to make it extra fun, and that's just hit home by the fact that it has staggered tires on the rear. So there is that interesting aspect to show that this is that S badge on the outside, or that red Audi Sport mark, is not just cosmetic on this car.
True, and I've thoroughly enjoyed throwing this car around in a sort of sporty fashion when I don't have the family involved, and yet when I have got the family involved, there's plenty of room for everything. I mean, we'll see if we can show Matt jumping in the back here. He's in the back there. There's plenty of room for him in headroom and legs.
It's an impressive place to be because it gives you more than enough room at the back, even for an adult like myself. Things like
it's questionable.
Heated rear seats for both passengers on either side, blinds for the rear windows, and then also there is that massive glass roof that goes all the way to the back to give the rear passengers as well the light and sun exposure, not just the people at the front.
Then there's the tech. I know that Matt's gone through a lot, and there is so much tech to go through, but the big thing for me is the head-up display. I can't emphasize how good it is. It's so clear, it's so big, and it's so interactive. You can play games on it, which is just hilarious. So when you are charging for those 10 minutes, you can take a break from life and play games.
Yeah, I had the 3D squash going earlier to remind me of my former athlete days.
Visibility all round is bound to be good, and it's the feel of the weight feel in the steering is good. I like the new steering wheel. It's very sporty. Yes, there are the issues with these sort of tactile or touch capacitive settings, but I don't mind it. It seems to work for me, and that's all right, even with my fat thumbs, which is that's another story. Now, the other thing we brought up is the sort of over-engineering to do with the portal for AC charging. And I don't know, to me, it sort of makes sense that if you've got a garage, you can have either side for the AC charging. You don't have to reverse your car in or whatever it is into the garage. It's kind of, I think it works really well. Harry, we had him along earlier, and he was not so impressed with it. He thought it was, again, over-engineered. Certainly the flaps being automated is a bit of an overuse of engineering. And the other thing is, it does have a kicker tailgate. We just couldn't get it to work.
We tried everything, a Trivela, some step overs, taking a penalty kick, but nothing, no foot gestures seemed to be able to activate it. So
it ended up with lots of hand gestures, I'll tell you. So there you have it, the Audi Q6 e-tron, the first to get on this new PPE platform, and I think they've done a good job. It's not quite the other P word, but it certainly handles really well, and it's probably more family friendly. It offers everything you need and then some, and luxury abound. I'm happy with it. I really enjoyed it. And I think even on a long run, which I'm going to take the family down to Cambridge for football, that's a different athlete thing. It's efficient. It's got tons of range. And yeah, I think it's got everything going for it.
It's sort of, its place in the Audi lineup may seem a little bit, well, out of place at the moment. But once Audi starts to fix those names and reverse those changes, it'll become more apparent as to where this car sits within Audi and within the market as well. But either way, I think it'll do well all around.
I mean, it's currently priced about 155 grand, so it's not cheap, but there is a lot stuck in here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and check out some of our other videos as well while you're at it. And we'll see you on the next one. See ya.